Welcome to the weekly Q&A with Dr. Gray. During this show, Dr. Gray will take questions from the audience and answer them for you. Please share this out with all of your friends and family across all social media platforms. And now, let's welcome Dr. Gray.
Welcome, everybody. We have a great day today. We're going to be talking about the complaint-free relationship, the complaint-free marriage. If you want to have a long-lasting, happy marriage, you have to learn how to give up complaining, how to give up criticizing, how to give up nagging. Now, when I'm sitting in front of an audience of people and I ask, how many people are willing to admit that they complain too much in a relationship? Most of the women raise their hands. There's a few men who complain. And what was going to say, why is because those men are just more on their female side, or their wives complain to them and then they complain back. But the nature of masculinity is not to whine and complain. Men suck it up, they hold it inside. They know how complaining destroys relationships, and it's not their nature to complain. If you're on a team of men and you're complaining, you get kicked off the team. And now people can say, oh, that's terrible. Welcome, Mariah. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Happy to have you come on in. And the theme of today is giving up complaining. And I'm going to focus mainly on women, but also on men. Matter of fact, I'll start with men, because in my book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, the classic, all the basic ideas are there, but I wrote this book over 40 years ago. The ideas of this book I was teaching over 45 years ago. Maybe I wrote the book 37 years ago, but I was actually writing it 40 years ago. So here we go. And the book has all the basic ideas of Men Are From Mars that I teach are there. But then you have to adapt that, because women have all changed over the last 40 years. And as women have changed, men have changed. Men change according to the women. They say, women, you've created a whole set of problems in the world that didn't exist before. Because as you go to if you go from your female side to becoming more independent, then when men connect with you, they have to go to their female side to connect with you, because you're on your male side. These polarities come together. I mean, you have to think of it as a whole, and then you put something inside the whole, and that's connection. You put two holes together, not much is happening. You put two pointers together, not much is happening. But connection happens when you've got a pointer and a hole. And the woman is the hole, and the man is the pointer. Lines and circles. Hey, Kaylor, thanks for joining us. We always look forward to your summary aha points, wow points. Anybody else who wants to contribute those in that section, we can bring them up on stage sometimes if Ken is watching. Ken is also producing a lot, so he doesn't. Thanks, Ava. Ken's doing a lot of producing, so he's not always able to see what's going on. Okay, now Ken has just told me he's always watching, he's always omnipresent. So if any of your ahas come up, anything that was helpful, put it in writing and share that with everybody, so we become more of a community and we have our takeaways. But we want to get rid of complaining in relationships. And the biggest issue that comes up for women when I tell them, well, let me come back. I was just talking about Mars, Venus, and in Men Are From Mars, one of my favorite parts of that book is the anatomy of an argument. And typically, almost all arguments start in relationship when a woman brings up a problem and a man offers a solution and she doesn't like it. And so she will see a problem. And this is how women are designed. This is not a judgment about women. Just get this. Men are focused more on ignoring problems unless you have to, unless it's necessary. So if there's a big fire, then he focuses on solving it. Women are more aware of what are the problems that need to be solved. It's just the nature of women. They see the problems. Men see, okay, what do I have to do to solve the problem? Or is it really a problem? Or how much of a problem is it? So that's what we're always sort of on that side of the picture. She's more on the side of the picture which looks at problems. And And often women are overwhelmed. Now, you can't deny this, women, that you get overwhelmed. It's a very common experience of too many problems. And I know that I have a female side, and I can see my female side going into, oh, there's too much to do. But for me, at least, as my female side says, oh, there's too many problems, what I will do is start to feel overwhelmed. And then immediately my brain just turns off, says, I'm just going to go watch TV. I'm just going to go on vacation for a little while. I'm going to forget it for a little while. Thanks, Gigi, for coming in. And hey, everybody, remember to like the show and to share it with others. That's always wonderful. But your likes evidently bring it out to more people, subscribing and so forth. And the more you can make comments, the better. Okay, that when you're commenting on the discussion page, make the comments. That's really good. I know there's one guy who on X, he just has comments for people all the time. And thank you so much. I don't know who you are, but you're doing a great job continuing to debate people and so forth. All that fun stuff is good. It goes into the algorithm. More people can hear the show, and that's wonderful. Thanks, Gigi, for reposting. So now we're going to continue looking at this idea of giving up complaining. So women talking about a problem, men will interpret that to be complaining. Because if he's part of the problem, if she's talking about him or the relationship or other things as well, it can be considered complaining. And that's just a downer for men. Now, today's talk, what we're going to learn is how if you don't complain, you can't have any romance. What's that about? So we will get there. But because if you're just happy all the time, women, there'll be no romance. And of course, men are over here going, all I want is a happy woman. Absolutely. But also, men, what you want is a woman that you can make happy, that's easy to make happy, that's effortless to make happy. Men always want do less, accomplish more. And I'm going to tell you how to do the least and make your wife, your girlfriend, more happy than if you worked hard. So, and of course, no woman wants to be with you if you can't work hard enough to earn a living. Okay, so you have to be able to do that. But then in relationships, women will get very complicated about their complaints and all this, and we should work on the relationship. And certainly everything in life has an aspect to solving problems, which is what we call work. But it doesn't have to be so hard. It can be so much easier if we understand each other. And if we have the energy to do it. One of my clients, she says, when I'm with my husband, he's always tired. But if he has a guy friend calls, he has energy, he perks up and everything. Well, why is that? Well, that's because he doesn't feel successful in the relationship. That's because his wife appears to him to be unhappy all the time and are not accepting him, always trying to change him, which is what complaining is. And there's a subtlety here of complaining or simply giving unsolicited advice. You may not think that you're complaining all the time, but you're saying you should do this, you shouldn't do that. Why did you do this? Why aren't you doing this? Well, you could have done it like this, and you're just helping. It's confusing. I get it, women. Men are confusing to you. It seems everything you do to help a man, if he isn't asking for that help, it's going to sound like control, complaining, and nagging. That's what it's going to seem like. And there's a dynamic that I'm going to take this from a wonderful book for parenting, which is called Hunt, Gather, Parent. And in that book, and the reason I quote that book a lot is that it adds to my ideas tremendously. I have all my ideas. My book, Children from Heaven, is a great parenting book. But this Hunt, Gather, Parent is for parents that can do it, adds a whole nother dimension. But it also adds a dimension to the way you want to raise your children. Is some of those ideas is how you want to treat a man and also how you want to treat a woman. Because, they're still children, but there's one of the ideas in there is don't give so much attention to your kids. You're always looking at your kids, correcting your kids. They need to have a sense of their own independence, that somebody's not watching them all the time and correcting them, even though you're protecting. Only when they're in danger should you protect them. It was very sweet. I watched my 3-year-old granddaughter, And Lauren is raising this child with a lot of the ideas, of course, of Mars Venus. But she says, now I can apply Mars Venus even better with my husband when I realize, the way you want to give to a child is you don't correct them, you don't criticize them, you don't always tell them what to do. They're amazingly creative, and you just let them be inclusive of your family. But you're not watching them. They need to feel they have their own space. Nobody's correcting them. And I thought about this, is that when I'm driving the car, how my wife, who's not doing anything, gets to observe everything. Oh, you missed this, or you did this, or you did this. How uncomfortable it is to have somebody watching you all the time, ready to see whenever you slip up, ready to point out your mistakes. And what women don't understand often is that you're just trying to help him. I'm just trying to help. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just giving you my advice. But that can sound like criticism. Like, don't you get that I can do this myself? I didn't ask for that. Don't give that to me. And it's kind of tough because we don't want to be rude and say, hey, I don't need to hear that. O'Kaler says, this is so huge that men look at so many things women say as complaining. Women don't see it that way. That's a huge insight. Yeah. It's like you're helping. You're just wanting to help. You're offering your help. You love him and so forth. Because what's under that complaint and why it can be so annoying to men is, what are the three most important ways to communicate love to a man? And now we translate that to the biology, because everything I say now is biologically proven, is that whenever you communicate to a man that he's a success, his testosterone goes up and his stress goes down. His motivation increases. His energy increases. His availability increases. He's not having to recover from the stresses of the day. He's more there for you. All happens when he gets the message he's a success. And what gives him the message he's a success is when you have emotional responses to him that feel like, I'm so happy to be with him. I appreciate him. I'm so lucky to have him in my life. I'm so grateful to have him in my life. You don't have to say to a man, oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. You can do that sometimes. But it's when you complain, it negates all of your appreciation. When you complain, when you give advice, it negates that you appreciate him. Because women say, I do appreciate him. I do. I said, thank you. I said, thank you. And then I complained. Boom, all of that appreciation just sort of disappears. So that's one. Acceptance. Just accept me the way I am. Don't try to change me. Don't criticize me. Don't help me. Don't tell me I could do this better, or you could do this, or have you thought of that? I think you could do this if you did this. All of it says you know better than him on how he should be. And unless he's asking you for that. And, women say, well, does he ever, I want to be helpful. I want to be useful. How can you be helpful and useful to a man? The way you can really be helpful and useful to a man is don't try to help him, but create the opportunity for him to help you. When you create the opportunity for a man to help you feel better, make your life more convenient, make life more easy, make you feel safe, make you feel comfortable, make you have orgasms, you're giving him the opportunity to do this. And you do that by asking for help. But even when you're asking for help, you will often, behind a complaint, there's two types of complaints that men will hear. We're trying to help him as criticism, but it can also be when you're wanting to receive from your partner. How do you receive more from your partner? How do you receive what you need from your partner? Often the only language women have is to point out what a man's doing wrong instead of pointing him in the direction of what can fulfill what you need. And that's called asking for help. And you will notice the help you need often shows up at times when he's not giving you the help you need. So I have to use an example. The example would be he's late for dinner. Okay, that was the first time my wife ever complained to me. It was in the first year. And I was late for dinner, and I got there, and she was not in a happy mood. And I said, what's going on, honey? And I'm so sorry I'm late. And she says, well, I feel bad. And I said, you don't need to feel bad. I was stunned. Why does she feel bad? I'm the one who's late for dinner. And why does she feel bad? I said, you don't need to feel bad. It's my bad. And I know it must be confusing because I don't feel that bad because I actually feel happy I got here really fast. I was late. I felt bad for a moment, and then I got home very efficiently through traffic, and now I'm feeling good. So I don't really feel that bad. And she says, well, I feel bad. And I said, well, how bad do I have to feel? And she said, more than what you feel now. And then I said, how long do I have to feel bad? And she said, we'll see. This is just all low-level consciousness conversation, not having another way. That was the way her mother treated her, which is, I feel bad, you didn't do this. I feel bad, you didn't do this. It made her feel bad. This is guilt tripping. Terrible, terrible. Women often, and they're even taught to do this in psychology classes. And I know I've talked about this before, but we're expanding it into another context here. But they're taught in psychology classes, whenever you want to ask for something from your partner, when you want them to change in something, you would say, when you're late, I feel bad. Would you try to remember to call me? Okay. You talk about how you suffered. So when you do this, I suffered. When you do this, I suffer. So would you change? So now you're using your suffering to motivate change. This makes your brain addicted to suffering. Women are addicted to suffering. Your brain is always focused on what makes you unhappy when you're stressed. It's just like the go-to for me to get help in my life, and that's connecting to your female side. I'm now being taught in psychology classes the way you get help from a man is when you do X, I feel Y. What I would like is this. Instead, revelation, when you do X, I understand and give them a good reason why they did X. And they say, next time, would you be on time? So let's try that again. So when you're late, he's late. Says, honey, I had to wait for dinner tonight. And, honey, you're 15 minutes late for dinner. And I know it must be that you were working late and you're taking care of your clients. But next time, would you give me a call? Or even better, you give the excuse first. So your complaint is you're late for dinner. So then what you just simply say is, honey, I know that you must have been working really hard talking to a client, or there must have been a lot of traffic on the bridge, but you're late. And next time I'd appreciate, so you're not late, to give me a call and let me know that you're late. Then I can plan the dinner. So you're always trying to minimize the criticism when you are criticizing. I mean, you're going, my husband's late. You might be feeling he's always late. And that's another thing that happens when you're having a stress response. Yes, Keith says, when you complain, you're always questioning his ability. You're doubting him. What are the 3 basic needs that men have? That's one of them is trust. That's what he's talking about, which is you're doubting his ability. It's like slam. Anytime you're helping him, you're doubting his ability. And anytime you're criticizing him, you're doubting his ability. So what you want to do is make an excuse for him. Because you know your husband. Hi, one of MB coaches. How do I help a woman see that although her husband has anger issues, she's banging on his toes with a sledgehammer? One of the key Mars-Venus issues. Okay, let me go with this again. Sam, hi Sam. How do I help a woman see that although her husband has anger issues, she is banging on his toes with a sledgehammer? One of these key Mars-Venus ideas. All right, well, let's talk about anger issues, because yes, I see your point here. So many women will say, my husband has anger issues. and yet she doesn't realize that she's banging on his toes. She's all the time harassing him. She's correcting him. And in her mind, she goes, I'm helping him, and he gets angry with me. So he has anger issues. And she doesn't realize how she's poking the bear all the time, poking the bear. As Sam says, this is a hurt woman who refuses to see how she can bring out the worst in another person, saying her husband should not be doing X, Y, Z. Well, there's nothing wrong with her husband saying that she would prefer that he not do X, Y, Z. But when she complains about him doing X, Y, Z, and how much she complains about it, and when she complains about it, the words she uses, and most importantly, the emotional tone she has when she asks for something different. But when your husband's late, another way you can approach it, if it's a chronic thing, you could just say on his way out the door, hey, honey, Be sure to call me. I'm going to make dinner so I know what time. Call me and let me know when you're going to be home so when I'm making dinner, it'll be at the right time, if that's the situation. I can hear some women saying, John's so traditional, what woman makes dinner for her husband? Well, I'm talking to a lot of women who make dinner for their husbands, but just translate it into whatever complaint your husband has for you. I'm just giving my own experience, and in my life, my wife would make dinner. But I'm a very modern man. I always told her, honey, if ever you want me to make dinner, I will make dinner. You just know that. All you have to do is ask me to make dinner, and I'll make dinner. Just ask me. And of course, what I'll do is then take everybody out to eat. That's my making dinner. Because that's not my thing. Some men, they make dinner. Okay, that's cool. Some men make dinner all the time. The thing about this is that when you want to motivate men to do things, his responsiveness to your requests allows you to feel appreciation. That then motivates him to do more things for you. It gives energy. But when men do things for you on a regular basis, okay, if he's doing things on a regular basis, your brain as a woman will habituate and no longer feel appreciation for that. There's no spark that happens. Women are always talking about, and there's studies on this. When my husband does domestic things like vacuuming, I get so turned on. Or when he cooks a meal for me, I get so turned on. I get so excited when he's picking up after himself. I get so turned on. He said, this is only when he hasn't before and he starts doing it. It's novel and it's new. Whenever men do anything new that's helpful to you, it's going to stimulate some romantic feelings. It's going to raise some estrogen, unless you're really shut down. Okay, there's a case where a man will do something new and you'll go, too little, too late, too little, too late. And that means you're just an impenetrable wall, which will put him to sleep because you have no receptivity. Whenever you have any resentment towards a man holding on to he has no energy around you. It's just like a vacuum. I walk into the presence of my wife's resenting me, and I'll just feel sleepy. And then somebody's not resenting me. That means they accept me as I am. They appreciate me. They accept me. They trust me. Trust that I can do it myself. Trust is one of the most important things. Oh, so here's I joyfully found the Mars Venus app on my Android last night. It's brilliant. Thank you, my programmers, and thank you for pointing that out to everybody. The app is there finally on Android. And my wife said to me today, she said, well, John, I'd rather talk to you than use the app. I said, honey, just do the app and then I'll read it to you so you can have that human contact with it. But it's helps a woman to take responsibility, to look at her feelings. And she says, if it's just a computer, then I want to feel my connection with you. I didn't read the last comment that you put up there. And please do share this out, and please let people know about the app. So John's Heart Space app now available for Apple and Android, and then people can go. Those are the links for that for people to know. You just go to the store and get it, download it, and it's so good. And it's not like it replaces human relationships. It's educational to help you recognize what's going on inside of you. And 80% of what it says is true. 20% just let it go. It's a computer. It can't completely. The algorithm doesn't know everything about what you're deeply feeling, but it helps you connect with those deep feelings and how that relates to. And I'm so glad this came up. It relates to how to ask for help from your partner. Is if you ask for help from your partner while you're feeling resentful, they won't help you, or they'll drag and they'll resent you back. Whatever you feel, a man will mirror. We are your mirror. This is back to the whole idea in Men Are From Mars, the anatomy of an argument that I mentioned before. Women get upset, men give a solution. If she doesn't appreciate it, then he becomes upset like her. The same thing happens when women complain. Always in a man's brain, he will have an instant complaint about you if there's resentment. If there's not resentment, you'll have a complaint about him. He'll now give you an excuse. So first he'll give you an excuse. If the excuse doesn't work for you, then you will complain again, and then he will complain in response. Kaylor says, oh, hooray. The app is on Android now. Thanks so much. Yeah, have fun with it. Do let me know how it works. And it's there just as an instruction guide to help you look at yourself inside. Because for women, when they're stressed, they're out overwhelmed in the outer world. What they need is to come inside, and they come inside to balance the outer world with the inner rod. Most profoundly by identifying what's bothering them and the emotions linked to it. See, that's what the app will do, is help you see. It will ask you just what's going on, and you just talk freely about what's going on, knowing nobody's going to hear it. You don't have to edit yourself in any way. Can you differentiate between the different options when you purchase? You get the whole thing. When you purchase it, you get the whole thing. I think you pay $5, something like that, and then you get to use it 4 times. It does a whole, like, 6 or 7 different things when you get to use it. It writes your feeling letter. It writes a response letter. It writes your response to the response letter. It writes affirmations. It sends you those affirmations that you pick. It gives you commentaries on the affirmations. It then reflects on your whole state of being at that time and reframes it into a more positive light. It then writes a poem for you. It then writes a story for you. All of those functions go with the app, and you use it 4 times. And then if you want to use it like 10 times, then you pay $10 a month and you get to use it 10 times. I think it's another amount you get to use it unlimited times. The thing is I'm using AI, and I have to pay for every time you use it. If we just said use it as many times as you want, AI would be billing me more money than you're putting in. So I don't have access to the app in Europe. It says not available on your, what can I do? It's not yet available in Europe. What was that, Ken? Okay, what is it? Yeah, come on. Yeah.
So, Lena, if I'm saying your name right, um, if you download a VPN and set your VPN to an American IP address, Proton has a great VPN program. There's lots of free VPN programs, and you can just set it to an American VPN if it's not available, and download it from the store.
Oh, cool. Great to
Yeah,
know. Thank you.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to get it into Europe because they had all these other requirements. It was very complicated. iPhone was really easy. Then Google took 2 months. And then the Play Store, big process. And then Europe is a whole nother sort of taxes and all kinds of things. So we'll see. I'm still working on trying to get it into Europe. I'm so glad to know about the VPN. Okay, so coming back to those are my, see, I'm complaining right there, but see, there's no emotional charge, and that's really important. It's not that you can never complain. It's just, is there emotional charge? That's the key to it. And what I always recommend is that you do have to have a place where you need a man for him to have romantic feelings. So there has to be a problem. So sometimes women are just going to be positive. Okay, don't complain, don't complain. Don't complain about him, but complain about work. Complain about the kids. Complain about your health. Complain about the politics of the day. Complain about your friends. Okay, so anything other than him is what I'm talking about. And what does a complaint look like? It's something that is frustrating you, causing you dissatisfaction, causing you a judgmentalness, causing discontent, causing worry, causing concerns, being bothered by, being jealous of, being envious of, feeling guilty, feeling bad, feeling mad, feeling angry. These are the emotions that we hide behind when we come home and we feel like I'm just so tired. I'm really mad at that person. See, there's always these deep levels of emotions. Oh, how do I attain unbounded awareness like Dr. Gray? It took me 7 years of regular meditation, and then I experienced unbounded awareness. It just happened one day. It was about 4 years of meditation, regular meditation. I was doing transcendental meditation at the time. There's others, regular. You have to do it regular, so you build the wiring in your brain. And the first level before unbounded awareness was flow. Flow was a feeling of, I found, my mind has found its resting place. I can just go there and I'm resting, and it's just a flow. So like when I'm talking, I have unlimited creativity based on my life experience and how much data my brain has accumulated in this lifetime. So from that, I can create more and more and more. That's that's the source. That's source energy. Unbounded energy came long before source energy, and long before unbounded energy was the feeling of, I found my resting place. I can completely relax. What a benefit meditation is. It didn't help me process emotions though, and processing emotions draws spirit into you through you. It's a more advanced stage. So you can skip even, I found my resting place. You can just go right into processing your emotions, and then there's a flow of negative emotion will turn into a flow of positive emotion, and the app guides you through that feeling state. And then what you experience as a result is the unbounded experience of feeling love. That's the key with that, is to experience feeling love. Just the unbounded state has no feeling in it at all. It's emptiness. And when you first experience it, it's like rather thrilling because you feel free. But then after that, you just get used to it. It's like a jacket you're wearing. It's in the cold weather. You forget how good it feels to be warm because you're warm. But the thing we're shooting for here with the app is to come back to a feeling of just love, which is a much higher state than unboundedness, just to point that out. But unboundedness is good too. That's meditation will give you that emptiness. Somebody has just, a comment just came in. What was that? A question for John. I'm a first-time mom to a 6-month-old baby who's breastfeeding and so demanding. How to continue to grow in love with my husband and create intimacy in this situation. Hormonal changes, sleepless nights, a lot of apologies. When you find yourself overreacting to things, it's normal. You have to know when you're breastfeeding a child, you're making huge amounts of oxytocin, which is actually going to take you out of your logical part of the brain and more into the emotional, loving part of you. You're bonding with your child, but you're not using your analytical brain so much. So basically, it means you're more vulnerable, and you might, if you're stressed, you overreact to things because you don't have logic that says everything's okay. You go, oh my gosh, and you amplify. Just explain to your partner that this is a temporary period of time. I appreciate so much your patience with me, helping me, because I can't really fully think when I'm fully feeling my love and bonding with my child like that. And yeah, Lena's saying thank you for sending the question in. It's such an important time. Also, I just want to mention really good omega-3 supplementation is very important, because with drinking your milk, she's taking all your omega-3, and omega-3 is necessary for producing serotonin. So when you have oxytocin without serotonin, you can be depressed, you can get overreactive, you can feel stressed because you're bonding. But when you're bonding, you need to be receiving, and to feel like I have support and love in my life, you need serotonin. And you need that omega-3 to produce that serotonin. This is a huge insight about the script we've all been taught. When you do X, I feel Y. Would you please do Z instead? I'm so excited to learn a new thing to do instead. It's so huge to downplay it and give an excuse at the beginning. It's not the natural instinct to downplay things for a woman. See, Kayla, you added, thank you so much. That's such a distinction, is that historically it's for women, but also for men. If I want you to take action for me, I have to like amplify it, and if you were a monkey, the only way you can let a person know the importance of what you're asking for is their tone of voice, amplifying it louder and louder and louder. Now we have negative emotions that will amplify. So I have strong negative emotions to justify. And that's for primitive state of consciousness. There's no question that for animals, they growl, they growl or they run, fight or flight. This is a basic thing. But what we want to do is, you're in a relationship with someone. They love you. They already care about you. So what you let them know is this is what I need, and this is what I would like. This is what would make me most happy. And the way you do that is just a casual question. Just trust. See, to trust someone, they're already motivated to give you what you want. You don't have to justify your complaint, or you don't have to justify your request. Now, here's another thing that goes with justifying requests. I'm so tired today. I have so much to do. I haven't seen you in the longest time, and you haven't helped me at all, but today at least I need your help to get this thing through. What you've done is a huge argument to justify your complaint implies that your partner doesn't immediately just want to love you and do things for you. That's the dynamic, is the more you justify a request, the more it implies you don't trust that person to give you what you want. And then when you utilize suffering, I feel hurt. Every man will become defensive when he's in love with you. And in the past, maybe not so much, because men were not so empathetic. Men today, let's keep Ava's question up there, but I can't get to it. Because see, in the past, men were more way on their male side, and they didn't have connection to their female side. They were really tough, and they had no feeling to a great extent at all. But today, when a man falls in love with a woman and is romantic with a woman, his heart opens. He feels empathy. And so when he feels empathy, he's already motivated. He feels, like he feels your mistrust. Okay, always from the place if I have to justify something, I'm not trusting you'll do it for me unless I give you a lot of reasons. He's saying you don't have to have a lot of reasons. I'm here for you. I'm devoted to you. I'm right here. So what you're coming from is a place of mistrust if you have to give a lot of reasons to justify. Another side of this is giving a lot of reasons to justify saying no. That was a big thing for Bonnie, which also was hard on me. It was like, or didn't bring out the best of me, I'll just put it that way, is that if I asked her to do something, and she would, instead of just saying, I have no time, I wish I could, she'd list out all the things she was doing, why she could justify saying no. You don't have to justify saying no to people who love you. You just say, I wish I could, I can't. And you can do this for other people who don't love you as well. It's just simply as, I wish I could, I can't. Because often women don't want to just say, no, I don't want to do that. No is good, but I had to tell Bonnie over and over and over, it's okay, just say no. And she said, I just don't feel comfortable. I said, well, here's another way to do it, just to say, I can't, I wish I could. Done. And I don't need to know all the reasons you can't. So same thing when you're making a request. Don't give all the reasons to justify your request. And don't use negative emotion to justify your request. Otherwise, you'll live in a sea of negative emotion. And a lot of mothers use negative emotion to motivate their children. I disappointed you with you. Oh my gosh. Well, let me see what Ava's saying here. I'm going to talk about disappointment in a moment. As you see, I can just keep going on and on. And what about complaints that are not spoken aloud by a woman? Great question, Ava. But which can be read in the tone of facial expression. Does a man mirror those back? Yes. Yes. And he will mirror it back if he does it with words, then that will make things worse. If he will typically, if he's more masculine, he'll just feel unsupported and tired in your presence. So I'm counseling one woman, and thank you, Ava. That means you can take the off. Okay, I got that one. There's a client, and she was in a community, a Christian community, and this is one of the problems in some communities. In the Christian community, the ideal is to be loving, to be kind, to be friendly, to be all these good values, which I totally support. And so she was like the head of the community, and she was happily married to her husband. But in the personal life, they weren't having sex. She mistrusted him. She was completely shut down to him. And I was talking, well, you're too critical. You're complaining. And she said, no, I never complain. I never complain. I'm always nice. I'm always precise. But I'm not having sex with him. And why don't you want to have sex with him? Because I don't trust him. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. He doesn't. And then she could come out with a few complaints. And then I started helping her understand, because I had observed their relationship. And I talked to him as well, and I knew what was going on. I said, and also you're feeling this, and you're feeling this. And you feel he neglects you. He doesn't hear you. He judges you. He's not supportive of you. He has no empathy for you. He doesn't offer to help you with. I went through all these things. She goes, yes, he doesn't. So now just say it to me. Tell me that. And she says, so she admitted to all these inner complaints. It was hard to get into her to admit this wall that she built up, which prevented her from wanting to have sex with him. And of course, her not wanting to have sex with him is pure rejection. It's the lack of trust. When you don't want to have sex with your partner, it's the number one thing that says, I don't trust you. Because when a woman feels safe and trusting, she will tend to want to have sex and be open to sex. Now, sometimes she's too stressed and has not about him at all, and she doesn't want to have sex. That's different. But these are some couples they stop wanting to have sex. She won't have sex. It's very, very sad. And why can't she feel the desire to have sex? Sometimes she's consciously punishing. Sometimes she's unconsciously punishing. Sometimes she's just unconsciously going, I can't trust you. I can't open up to you. But when you dig deeper into her feelings, there's a lot of resentment and a lot of rejection. But it's all being repressed to look good to herself, to look good to her community, to be a good Christian, to love God and love others. So she can be loving. She's very dutiful, and she did things without complaining at all. But inside, the complaints were there. So it was revealed just in the tone of her voice. And this is what I call the alphabet theory, which is the first complaint you have that you suppress is your level A in the tone of your voice, only one complaint. Then it accumulates, and it accumulates A, B, C, D, E, F, G. By the time you get to H, I, J, this many complaints that have not been processed. You don't have to express them. You have to let them go, not suppress them. It's very different. When you hold something inside, it's piling up inside, accumulating A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So, finally you get to X, Y, Z. Anything you say is going to just repel a man. When you're at JK, along the middle, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, when you get about JK, that's where you got all this resentment. And anytime you ask for help with resentment, he doesn't have the energy to do it. He's not willing to do it. He will feel he's sacrificing to do it. It's like I'm going to a job that doesn't pay. After a while, I'll resent the job as well. So when you feel resentful, he will resent you. He will have less energy. He will less give to you. Resentment is really, really a big thing. And how do you get out of resentment? You process your emotions. You process your emotions. You're not talking to him. Don't talk about the relationship. Don't express all A through JK or XYZ to him. You don't need to say any of that stuff. And yet whenever you're having an argument and you start to get one step closer, boom, you'll bring up some more of the past, and you'll bring up some more of the past. And not just the women, I found myself doing that as well sometimes. When something gets resolved and I want to bring up another problem that hasn't been resolved, and I'll bring it up. No, stick with just in present time. Always stick with present time. And I used to, after many years of arguments, we got it, so we never argued. And I would have to be strong sometimes. I say, honey, let's not bring up the past. Let's just bring this. Our rules are in conversation is not to bring up the past. Our rules in negotiation, which I'm writing a whole book on negotiation, which is in the book, which is, I've written it, I just have to edit it, which is how to talk so a man will listen. And part of negotiating, this is a simple thing, and it's just to give a number to, okay, what I would like is XYZ, let's say, and what would you like, and what would you XYZ for you? And now let's say we can't agree on what we're going to do, then you would just say, well, what number is that for you? Well, this is an 8 for me. And what number is that for you? Well, that's a 10 for me. Okay, well, this time we'll do the 10 for you, and next time it'll be my turn to have the most important thing. So use numbers can also help be logical. But whenever you're negotiating for anything with your partner, solving a problem together where you might have differences, never use emotions. If you have emotions, it destroys everything. There's a great technique in psychology, which is called to avoid fights and arguments and so forth. And again, if you're complaining a lot, because today our theme is complaining, if you've been complaining a lot in your relationship, what you have is an empty bank account. Your partner will have little tolerance and little patience for either side. If you have an empty bank account, all a woman has to do is say, why did you put it that way? And the guy reacts. Let's say you have a full bank account. The relationship is full of many, many meaningful acts of love. So you've got $1 million in the bank account. And then you say to your partner, well, why did you do that? That was stupid. Oh, you're right. It was stupid. Oh, next time I'll do it differently. Or what did you do that for? You put that over there. And it's, oh, I made a mistake. Or, oh, that's a good idea. That's when you have this. That's how it is in the beginning before you've built up all these resentments of suppressing and suppressing. And all resentment comes from suppressing emotions. And typically, because women are wired up, to need to express in order to let go of. The need to express, to let go of an issue. They suppress that. It's the suppression of emotions that builds into resentments. And of course, the resentment is these logical statements, which it's unfair. I did this for you and this for you, and you did that for me. All that logic is fueled by negative emotion, which has been repressed. And so you're only looking at your victim side, not looking at theirs. That's why we talked earlier, is that when you want to ask your partner to do something, rather than complain to them to get what you want, make an excuse of them. You know, I know you didn't get enough sleep last night, so you got angry. And next time, if you if you would just, when you're taking angry, take your time. Just let me know you need to think about it and walk away. And everybody should know this principle, is talking about your feelings when you're angry is the worst thing if you're talking about your partner and they're the reason you're angry. It's just the worst thing. Kaylor, thanks again. I see what you have to say. And the part about when you use negative emotions to change a person is training our brains to focus on negative emotions. Oh, wow. That part about justifying our reasons is showing our mistrust. Wow. That's huge. I've been telling people that when you do that, you're making him wrong. Yeah, see, women don't know that they're making a man wrong. They often will say, I'm just telling you how I feel. And just, I feel hurt when you do this, or I feel I can't trust you when this happens, or I feel neglected when you don't do this, or I feel I have to do everything myself and I don't get any help from you. Do you see how that's just how I feel? I want to share with my partner, and I want you to go, oh, honey, dear, I understand how that hurts. I understand. I want to help you so much. He can't even go there. All that you just shared, all those, quote, feelings is all about him, all about the relationship's no good. And he will defend. So when you have all of that, you need to share that. You can share with a therapist, with a coach, with somebody you're not sharing with them so that they will solve the problem. They're just going to listen. When you do the app, you're sharing with the app, the same, going deeper into the emotions, because it's the deeper you can go into an awareness of the depth of your emotions, the more your brain is able to let go of them. As long as you're exploring and expressing these emotions without any intent to change somebody other than yourself. I'm doing this to change myself by becoming aware of the negativity inside of me so that my brain will let it go, because that's not who I am. I'm a positive, loving person. But whenever you're experiencing negativity inside yourself, and you use that to solve a problem, not only you can't even let go of it, your brain won't let go of it. You'll make some estrogen when you're just complaining. You'll make some estrogen, but very quickly you'll start making more testosterone. Because if your intention, this is where intention is so powerful. If your intention is, I'm sharing my feelings with you so that you will change. I'm sharing my negative feelings with you so you will change. Now, I'm going to share my positive feelings with you so you'll change. Then your brain will go, oh, I'm going to start using positive feelings to get what I want. And your partner will respond to you in a much more powerful way, positive way. But if you're using negative emotions to change your partner, then your brain goes, one is, I should have more negative emotions and more intense negative emotions to get them to change. But here's the other thing, which is that if you're using negative emotions, I'm unhappy because you did this. And I won't be happy until you change your behavior. Now you get to stay unhappy until they change their behavior. And they're not going to change their behavior because your love is so conditional. And they feel rejected and they feel that you're not loving them. What you want to do is come back to loving someone as they are. And same thing for me, to love my wife as she is, and understand why she is that way. That's what women need, is to feel understood without judgment. So my wife can be all upset. I mean, yesterday, she has her waves. Okay, women have their waves. She was also having her period. There's two places where the wave crashes for women. One is 5 days before their period. They're feeling good before that, and then they crash. And then if you don't make them wrong during the crash, they will automatically come back up. And you do things to make them feel that they're not alone at that time, if you can. If she crashes, she will come up all by herself. You don't have to talk her out of it. You don't have to complain to her. You don't have to explain to her how she should change. Women are wave. They automatically go up and down as long as you're not getting in the way, men. So she's now coming, the wave is hitting bottom. It hits bottom naturally. She will begin to notice where she feels overwhelmed and stressed in her life, where she's not getting me time right before her period. See, what allows a woman to not have PMS is she makes a lot of progesterone in the 5 days before her period. If she's making a lot of progesterone, she will not be all unhappy and distressed and have PMS. Progesterone gets produced when you're doing things that you love to do and you like to do, and you're not doing it out of obligation. So these women who do things out of obligation all the time, codependent, that means making other people's needs more important than your own, doing things that you don't even want to do, but you do it because you should do it, because you'll be seen as less than, or you owe someone. When you act out of obligation, particularly during those 5 days before your period, what will happen is that means you're making other people's needs more important than your own at that time. You'll not be making progesterone. And it will be, this is when women have suicidal feelings, when they feel they're depressed, that they feel unimportant, they feel insignificant, whatever. So the wave crashes. And it can be whatever. Some women crash really low. Some women just crash. And it's natural to have some crash, okay? So yesterday my wife was, she was having a crash. And she just said, I have no value. And she'll do that because she'll hear me giving a talk. And she also gives talks, but she's younger at it. She's not as expertise as me. She hasn't been doing it 40 years. She's a relationship teacher as well. And so she'll hear me give a talk, and she goes, I can't do that as good as John. And so since she feels like she's not good, she feels like I have no value, I'm no good. And I said, well, let's talk about that feeling. And we talked about it a little bit, and she got to share more, and I helped her express her feelings more. The app, I pulled out the app and I expressed what I heard from her. I answered the questions on the app. It wrote the letter. I had her read the letter, and then I had the response. And I read the response to her, and she cried. And I was able to feel her more deeply because I was reading the response. And again, the letter wasn't at me. It was just a letter to me about what's going on in herself and her not blaming me. If the letter was blaming me, most men can't hear that. Pretty much I can hear anything because I understand that anything she says at me comes from a place of being irrational, and soon she'll be rational. So I don't take it personally, but that takes many years of experience for a man to hear criticism and complaint. But even if I was good at it, if my wife was demanding solutions from me, then if she can't let go of her emotions. So she was doing the process, and I read the feelings out. That was one experience. I think that was about 2 weeks ago. Now, here's another one, which I got two stories confused. Here's the one that just happened, and that was before the period and during the period. And so I'm talking to her. And then what I did is says, let's go for a walk together with my friend. As soon as she saw my friend, he goes, he just greets her with a big smile. Her immediate response is a big smile, okay? Because I gave her another stimulus. Because she was focusing too much on getting everything from me. At a certain point, if a woman focuses on getting everything from her husband, it will never be enough because we have other needs. We have needs for social engagement, situations with other people. Because now she's resonating with somebody else that she's not looking to solve her problem. And now when she's not looking to someone to solve her problem, then her positive feelings could come up. So this is, again, when women focus too much on their husband to either you are my problem or you should solve my problem. Okay. Then what happens is she disconnects from her own inner ability to find her solution. And just putting her in another situation where there was other stimulation. That's like going to a restaurant to eat. Just being in an environment where there's other people. Sometimes if you're just all together, this is what happened in the pandemic. This is what's going to happen again. So everybody should be careful about this. With the war in Iran, the oil costs are going to go up. There's going to be people are going to have to stay home because they can't use their cars because they're going to put a limit on how much gasoline you can have. And there's going to be some variation of shutdown. And in that shutdown, you're together all the time. You can't be together all the time with your spouse. You have to have time apart so you can come together. Time apart so you can come together. time apart so you can come together. Now, men will tend to automatically provide that regulation because we're like rubber bands. We get close, we naturally want to pull apart. And then we spring back. And so when we pull apart, it forces women who tend to be more attached than men, it forces women to have to look somewhere else for their love and support. So she was just looking to me too much. And so my wisdom here is I need to put her in another environment where she's getting support from someone else. And she's giving support to someone else. And that's social bonding outside of the relationship. Very, very important. Now, men, I just want you to know that you can do social bonding outside the relationship. And you could be also with your wife. Say you're in public. And some men become effusively complimentary of another woman in their wife's presence. That's not a good thing to do. A woman was sharing with me, her husband is like a people pleaser. He likes to please people and be charming and romantic and nice. And he'll see a woman and, oh, you look so beautiful. Your eyes are so dazzling, or whatever it is. And your outfit, your jewelry, I love this. And I love it. He'll do 5 things rather than one thing. So keep that in mind, men. When you're with your wife, she should be the center of your attention. And it's not that he's bad for that. He just didn't realize it's embarrassing to her. It feels icky. It's like he's making somebody else more important than her. And she knows he's not coming on to her. He doesn't want to like have sex with her, have a relationship with her. None of that's going on. He's just, enjoying the interaction of brightening up somebody's day. But don't brighten it up too much, guys, okay? Just be friendly and nice. And just as a note along the side here, is whenever you see a woman, let's say in her 70s or 80s or 90s, you can brighten up her day. Notice her jewelry, notice her outfit, and make a comment. What a beautiful earring, or what is that beautiful ornament you're wearing? What is that? Notice something about her with delight. It's women, as they get older, start to feel really invisible because they're so much used to getting so much attention when they're younger. So there's a contrast there, is that now the younger women are all getting the attention and they're not. And attention is really important, attention in terms of noticing their beauty and so forth. And ironically, I talked earlier before about this book, which is The Hunt-Gather Parent, which is don't be looking at your children all the time. That's one. Another one is often parents feel their children are too demanding. And that's because we demand their attention. I know that a lot of parents always want to, oh, what are you doing here? And oh, what are you doing here? Oh, look at this. And oh, this and this and this. And they're kind of like always trying to win their children's attention and approval and whatever. So you're demanding them to react to you. They will become demanding of you. And so you get these demanding kids. And now add to that, watching too much of the video games and all those electronic things, those things are literally demanding. They're forcing a child's attention. So the child is now going into a state where now they're going to force attention from you. They'll become demanding. So it's really not healthy for children to be spending all that time there. And I'm going to come back to our theme of the day, which is giving up complaining, the complaint-free marriage. So just to notice, it's not that you can, remember I talked about build up your love tank, your love bank, and the way you build up the love bank, and if you read Men Are From Mars, you see that there's a long list of little things men can do for women. But what happens if he doesn't do those little things? Then you're starting to feel he's not being romantic, I don't feel supported, because it's little things that raise your estrogen levels up, new and different little things. It can't be a big thing. Let's say a guy's a perfect house cleaner. So he goes to work and then he comes home and then cleans the house. Oh, it's so romantic. That's so wonderful. No sex. There'll be no sex in that relationship. My funny story about this is the woman who, one of the women on The View, and they're talking about relationships, and there's this really hot woman, and she says, well, I have a wonderful relationship. And they all go, oh, what about yours? Because the other one were just complaining about men. And she's like, oh, my husband's perfect. And my dog's barking. It's time to end. I know Ken has to get going. We've already talked an hour, but I'll finish this little story. And the story is, And she says, oh, I'm a perfect husband. They go, tell me about it. And she says, oh, I have to get up at 4 o'clock to come into New York to do the show. When I come home, the house is clean. The children have been taken care of. They have 3 children. Food is on the table. I have the perfect wife. And they'll go, oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. Amazing. You found a man like that. And then one of the women says, and how's the sex? And the woman laughs. We haven't had sex since our last child. So she's sacrificing the romance in her relationship. Okay, there's no connection between her and her husband. It's all just show. It's TV show. He's cheating on his wife. There's no doubt about it. He's got all day to find somebody else to be the perfect husband. There's no emotional connection. Okay, because he basically is doing the female side, she's doing the male side. And unless they had really good communication where she could come home and share her feelings or frustrations or disappointments or worries and concerns, and he could hear her completely and provide that emotional support, that could bring them back together. But what she'll do is just not share. She's just got this perfect Stepford wife, reverse Stepford wife, where she is now the provider and he's the perfect wife at home. This is one of the big problems today, is as women go to more of their male side, they need to be able to come back to their female side. And the way you do that is to need his help. And the way you need his help is emotional help. The more you're on your male side, you need estrogen. And estrogen really goes up when you can share your feelings. Not about him, but about your life. That's the Venus talk. We've all talked about that. So today we've covered the whole subject of complaining a lot, which is don't complain, make excuses. Make an excuse and then ask for what you want. Or make a emotionally no charge. Now, you can complain about anything if there's no emotional charge. It's just this as resentment builds up, it comes to the tone of your voice. That was the alphabet theory. When you get to XY, there's nothing you can ask him about. At that point, you need to even, you're so far through resentment, you're in rejection. You need to say, let's take time to behave as if we're no longer married, but we're still sexually monogamous, but we're going to separate. So we're going to experience what it would like to live in separate parts of the house as if we're separate and we're not depending on each other for anything. Except we can be cordial, but we don't talk about the relationship. We don't talk about our feelings and so forth. And we practice the skill which every psychologist teaches that doesn't work normally, which is called active listening. If there's a conversation, it's only about solving problems. It's never about your feelings or the relationship. You can't talk about your feelings, can't talk about relationship, but you can ask for help. You can also say, help me understand your point of view, and your partner expresses their point of view. You can then say, I hear what you're saying is this. This whole idea of active listening, I have a whole section in this new book on talking. Why Gottman, who's written a lot of books on relationship, they did some research on it, and they found that couples don't use active listening at home because it doesn't work. It works in the therapy office where you got a third party listening. Objectivity is there. But as soon as you bring feelings, I want you to understand how I feel, and then now I'm going to actively listen to how you feel. Never works at home, but you can do it at home. It works if when you're negotiating a problem, it's like in the workplace or in the courtroom, you don't bring emotions into it. You don't ever say the words I feel or be emotional, but you're just detached and you're looking at how important this is to me, how important is what do you think, what would you like, what would you want, why do you think that's the case? It's always what do you think, what do I want, what I would like, what do you want, what I hear you saying is. That's very powerful active listening. Like in the business world, so powerful where you're not going to be revealing emotions. You're not charged up. It's just the person you're working with. So what I hear you saying is that you want this to be done. Is that correct? And they say, yes, but also this and this and this. And I say, so now what I hear you saying is this and this and this. To have somebody duplicate you is a wonderful thing to build rapport, to reach connection. It's fantastic. But when you bring emotions into a marriage where there's hurt and there's fears and there's anxiousness, disappointment, where there's resentment, it never works unless you say the rules are no feelings. But if there are feelings, that's where you go to your feeling letter process. That's where you go to your app. That's where you go to talk it out with a therapist. So your resentment is clear. And the great thing about resentment, it goes away when you can fully process your emotions. You can come back to now building the relationship by asking for what you want. So hopefully today we got some good insights on learning how not to directly complain to your partner, but to share with your partner. And I'll finish with this one discernment that was very key to me. There's a difference between sharing and complaining. It all has to do with your intention. And the example for this is you're sitting in a restaurant with a girlfriend and you're saying to him or her, how's your soup? And the person, oh, my soup it's good. Well, my soup is cold. I don't really like this soup at all. And he's really, well, tell me about your soup. And they say, well, I could do a much better soup. And now you're going on this big conversation about soup remedies and how expensive this restaurant is. And they don't even give you hot soup and not even good. And you see, you're complaining back and forth about the restaurant, the food, whatever. And I don't even want to go here again. Whatever it is, you're back and forth. That's sharing. Complaining is when you say, waiter, my soup is cold. I want hot soup, okay? And the waiter says, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll get you the right soup. And they'll go do something for you and then give you extra. They'll give you, they'll say, I'll give you free drinks or a dessert or something. Sorry for your inconvenience. That's complaining. That's when you're sharing what you feel, expecting an apology. Sharing what you feel, expecting a solution. Sharing what you feel and expecting someone to change their behavior. That's all called using your negative emotions to manipulate. That's complaining as opposed to sharing. Sharing is when there's no implied blame and you're not asking someone to change. And you can't even talk about a problem if you're feeling resentful without it sounding like you're blaming. Just to know that. And so we have it'd be like, how do you get your partner to change when you want them to change? Stop trying to change them. Start changing what's inside of you. Let go of your resentments, the negative feelings that are inside of you. Change. Your partner will change. It's amazing. You create the space, and then the man has the room to come close to you. And the same thing, if men are the whiners, if men are the complainers, if men are feeling hurt and they're sharing all that stuff, it's a disaster. He needs to learn how to handle it quietly, go to his cave, go through it. He can use the app for that. If it's high stress, he needs to process emotions. If it's low levels of stress, he just needs to be quiet and do something to raise his testosterone. And that's his number one stress reducer, is just forget it, do something that I enjoy doing, and then his heart's open, he comes back. And unfortunately, at that point, the woman doesn't understand men. She's going to go, oh, he's still mad at me. No, he's not still mad at you. So when he seems to be distant, don't ever ask him what's wrong. Give him distance. Let it happen for a while. If you in the middle of a conversation and he becomes distant right away, you can just simply say, to feel your security again, you can say, oh, you're thinking about what I said. And then immediately he'll go, yes, I'm thinking about it. And then the tone of his voice will let you know that he's not mad at you or whatever. Because when men pull away, women think it's a big problem. Because when women pull away, it is a big problem. So covered a lot of big points right just then. But for those of you that it was useful, I'm glad you heard it. And I'm really happy to share this with you today. Thanks for joining me for how to create a complaint-free relationship. And if you're single, how to create a complaint-free life where you're not dwelling on your negativity, but learning how to process it. And of course, we have so many other talks on how to process your negative emotions using the Mars-Venus app. This next talk I'm going to give, we're going to talk about learning to use the Mars-Venus app, how to process your negative emotions and come back to love. Well, we're going to talk about that on our next talk. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Appreciate it so much. Please be sure to like this. Please be sure to share this with your friends. Let's share this more with the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching Q&A with Dr. Gray. Please share this out with all of your friends and family across all social media platforms. And be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 11 a.m. PST and 2 p.m. EST.